At the family gift exchange, I thought I was finally doing something that mattered. Not jewelry, not some designer bag, not a wad of cash shoved in an envelope like usual. This time, I gave my sister something real. Something that should have meant more than anything else. When it was my turn, I walked over to Megan and handed her a plain white envelope. No wrapping paper, no shiny ribbon, just her name written in black ink across the front. I sat back down, my chest tight with anticipation. She opened it. At first, her expression was confused. Then cautious. She pulled out the letter, scanned it quickly once, then read it again slower, lips moving. Inside, I'd explained how I found out she was $8,300 short on tuition for her final semester, how she'd already missed her first payment, and how I stepped in and paid it in full. I even attached the university's receipt and confirmation. The room was quiet enough to hear the clock ticking in the kitchen. For a moment, I thought, maybe, just maybe, she'd understand. Maybe she'd realize what I'd just done for her. Instead, she laughed. And it wasn't nervous or grateful. It was cruel. Mocking. She held up the letter like it was a punchline and sneered, "He thinks money can make up for the fact that we don't need him." The whole room erupted. My dad clapped his hands together like it was comedy night. My mom covered her mouth, tears in her eyes from laughing so hard. Even Grandma Susan gave a little snort. I just sat there. My ears burned, my heart hammered, but my face didn't move. After a long pause, I leaned forward, reached out, and took the letter back from Megan's hand. My voice stayed calm. Too calm. "I guess you'll have some free time next spring." The laughter died instantly. My sister's smile froze mid-grin. My dad's face twisted like he'd been sucker punched. My mom whispered something too low for me to catch. Megan just stared at me like the room had tilted sideways. 15 minutes later, I walked down the hall toward the front door and found her crumpled on the floor, crying. My mom was crouched next to her, rubbing her shoulder. My dad paced back and forth, his jaw tight. Both grandmothers sat silently on the stairs, their faces unreadable, like they couldn't decide if this was tragedy or entertainment. I reached for the front door. My dad stepped in front of it, blocking me. "Where do you think you're going?" "I'm leaving." "Not after that little performance. You ruined Christmas." His voice dripped with authority that didn't land. My mom nodded from behind him. Megan called out between sobs, "You're seriously just leaving?" I looked around, the hallway garland still dusty from last year, the cheap lights flickering, the family that seemed more like strangers every second. I closed the door, took off my coat, walked back to the table and sat down. Everyone followed, uneasy, like they weren't sure who was running the room anymore. I leaned back in my chair and said, steady and clear, "Here's how it's going to be now." Nobody moved. My sister sniffled, face red and blotchy. My mom's lips trembled like she couldn't decide whether to cry or lash out. My dad looked ready to start one of his righteous speeches, but I didn't give him the chance. For years, I've been this family's emergency